What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Scares. That's right, we're back at it on our month-long journey through the nightmares with yet another film that I had neither heard about or seen in the past. It's a 1981 grindhouse horror film about the gates of hell, and this one is called The Beyond. The Beyond is an Italian horror film surrounding a creepy hotel as one of the 7 horrific gates of hell. In the 1920s, a warlock was looking over the gate in the hotel, keeping it closed, but when he's killed by a lynch mob, they set in motion the opening of said gate, which, if prophecy remains true, will bring on the end of the world as we know it. This is one heck of a movie, let me tell you. It's definitely the kind of film that will split a lot of people, so a lot of you might hate it, while a slight niche of you might love it to pieces. If I weren't a critic, I would probably be on the side that might hate it, but I can definitely appreciate so much about what's going on in this film, primarily when it comes down to the visuals, which this is a violent, gory 1981 grindhouse film, so, there's a ton of incredible practical effects work in which they go all out. The sheer number of eyes popping out of their sockets, getting squished, eaten, whatever, is crazy. It also operates in a way like a zombie film, but not your typical zombie film. Like I said, this is about the gates of hell. So like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you're talking about basically a hellmouth situation, which just brings monsters into our world in whatever appropriate method that they find. So maybe it's zombies, but maybe it's also flesh-eating spiders that cover you while you're paralyzed to chow down on every inch of your body while you lay there helpless. Oh yeah, this is a movie that goes all out, and it makes you uncomfortable, and it's definitely creepy. But I fear that it's also a movie that is creepy just for the sake of being creepy. So it seems to have more of a preference in having those gory moments, having those practical effects constantly. But more than once, I kind of thought to myself that the film doesn't really know what it wants to be past that. It starts off on a woman tasked on reopening a hotel, which just so happens to be a gateway to hell. Great, but once the gates open, we get into that kind of loop, if you will. Things just getting creepier. They get creepier. Our main characters, our heroes, if you will, they aren't really doing anything to stop it. All they're really doing is reacting. So, a corpse. Blood. Eyeballs and goo. Okay, that's great and all, and it makes me say ew. But what else do you have for me in terms of plot? What else do you have in terms of story? Not much. Though I will say that the ending is morose, and in 1981, that must have shocked a lot of people. So while I can't say that this film is the best or the most entertaining film that I've seen this year for interpreting the scares, it might be the most intense as far as practical effects work goes, and maybe the weirdest all around too, because it really is the type of film that only really works for a specific type of audience. So that's a tight niche. On IMDb, the film's rated 6.6 out of 10. Likewise, on Rotten Tomatoes, you're talking about 67%. Yet fans of horror have called this movie a masterpiece. It makes sense. I mean, if you're not in that tight niche, you won't think much of it. You might be even looking over important aspects of it. I feel like I'm missing stuff too. So that being said, some other movies in the same genre that I have tied with this film are Fright Night 2, Zombieland 2, From Dusk Until Dawn, and Housebound. And I guess that kind of means that it fits right in with the others. But they're all far from movies that I would consider masterpieces. Same goes here. So without further ado, let's take a look at that score, which I gave letter grade of B to and a number score of 76%, which is comprised of a technical unbiased score and biased score, both of which are pretty close in nature, meaning that the movie was ultimately made decently. Nothing too crazy. Some parts felt a little bit aged. I always love practical effects and will never say no to them, but I personally cannot see it being a movie that would ever be released in today's day and age. That's not really a dig, but ultimately, the movie's fine. It's fine, but I question on if I ever will see it again. Now, guys, have you seen The Beyond? If you have, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell for the next time that I review a horror film for interpreting the scares. And until then, peace out!